And there we go. Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for joining on. It's always fun when there's more than one page, and my heart always pounds every time we start this. But I'm Tanya Sheldon, and I'm going to talk to you tonight about all things Cabo. Not only the technical stuff on how to get there, I'm going to show you from just distributorship up to Pro 6, how to get to the Cabo trip. I'm going to give you some different examples of what you can shoot for within the next 6 months. And then I'm going to go beyond that at the end. So you don't want to miss the end of this. So we'll just get right into it. I'm going to share my screen. I went ahead and made a really beautiful PowerPoint. Oh, I don't want to leave the meeting. It's just white, but it's for you. So let's get started, because I think this is important that I just want to help. My intention of tonight is to build your belief that you can earn the Cabo trip, point blank, okay? So how would a current distributor, or give me 1 second, I gotta minimize this. Okay, how would a current distributor or Pro 1 earn the Cabo trip? So the baseline for Cabo is that you have to be a Pro 4, paid as a Pro 4 in June to be able to go to Cabo. The other baseline that you have to have for sure is that you have to earn at least 3 points by getting the 5 for 500 3 times. So the 5 for 500 pool share, that is no longer there. But what we want to do is maintain those habits and those disciplines of getting 5 new enrollments. Each enrollment must be at least 40 PV, and then it must equal at least 500 PV out of those 5. And doing that 3 times. In doing that 3 times, that is your baseline. You must do that to also earn the Cabo trip. You have now until June to get those 15 enrollments total and that 1,500 PV total from now until June, okay? Those are the baseline qualifications. So for a current distributor Pro 1 to get it, you're gonna get the baseline of the 3 points by bringing in 15 new people with 1,500 PV, 3 points. And then what we're gonna shoot for is achieving the rank of Pro 3 by March. When you do that, you're gonna earn 3 points for hitting Pro 3. Then you're gonna maintain Pro 3 in April and May, continuing to build and grow your business towards that Pro 4. So in April and May, by holding Pro 3, you're gonna gain another 10 points. Then you achieve Pro 4, hit it in June, and that is another 6 points. Now you have a total of 22 points. You've earned the trip and airfare for 1. So to earn airfare for 2, you must have 25 points. So you would just need 3 more points. And how do you get 3 points? By bringing in 5 for 500 3 times. So by getting another 15 new enrollments and 1,500 PV, now you've got your 25 points and a trip for 2 to Cabo. Here's another way for Pro 1s and new distributors to earn that trip. Do your baseline of 3 points by enrolling 15 new people, equaling 1,500 PV. That's 3 points. I'm gonna make sure that I mute everyone again. Okay, there we go. All right, sorry about that, guys. 1 second, go back and play it. Okay, here's another way. So achieve Pro 3 in March, you get 3 points. So we've got January, February, March, we hit Pro 3, you've got 3 points. You maintain it in April, that's another 5 points. Then you hit Pro 4 in May, you get another 6 points. Maintain Pro 4 in June, that's another 9 points. Now you've done your baseline, you've gotten the 5 for 500 3 times, you've gotten 3 points for that. You've hit Pro 4. This scenario right here gets you 26 points. You've earned the trip and airfare for 2. Okay, so for Pro 2s, I got really crafty in this PowerPoint and I made the Pro 2s. I made all the ranks the color of your pin. How cool is that, right? Okay, so Pro 2s, you are also going to do the baseline between now and June. You're going to earn those 3 points by getting the 5 for 500 3 times. You're going to achieve Pro 3 as well in March. By achieving Pro 3 in March, you've earned 3 points. You're going to maintain Pro 3 in April and May, and now you've earned another 10 points. And then you're going to hit Pro 4 in June, another 6 points. You have a total of 22 points. You've earned the trip and the airfare for 1. Pro 2s, how do we earn the airfare for 2? Achieve Pro 3 in March, got 3 months to do it, 3 points. You've done your baseline, 3 points by enrolling 15 new people equaling 1,500 PV. You maintain Pro 3 in April, another 5 points. You achieve Pro 4 in May, that's another 6 points. And then you would maintain Pro 4 in June. You've gotten it, another 9 points. You've earned 26 points. You have your trip and your airfare for 2. Now, 30 points could come from hitting Pro 3 1 month sooner in February. All of this, you're going to up your points if you take these scenarios I've given you and you move it up a month. You're going to increase your points from that, okay? Pro 3, Cabo trip. How do we do it? We get our baseline, 5 for 500, 3 times. That's your baseline 3 points you must have. Pro 3s, you're going to hit Pro 4 in April. You've got 4 months to do that. You're going to hit Pro 4 in April. You're going to get 6 points. Then you're going to maintain Pro 4 in May and June, and that's another 18 points. Now you have earned 27 points. You have your trip and airfare for 2. Okay, Pro 3s, here's another way for you. You get your baseline, 3 points, enrolling 15 new people equaling 1,500 PV. That's necessary to do. You achieve Pro 4 in March. We moved it up a month. You've got 6 points from doing that. Now, if you maintain Pro 4 in April, May, and June, that's another 27 points for you. Now, cumulative, you have 36 points. You've earned the trip, you've earned airfare for 2, you've earned activity for 2 people, and $200 spending cash. Holla. Okay. Now, Pro 4s. Pro 4s, what are we going to do? We're going to get our 3 points baseline, 15 new people, 1,500 PV. You're going to achieve Pro 5 in May. 5 months. You will be a Pro 5, starting your qualification also for the Pro 5 Summit, and you will earn 9 points by doing that in May. Then you're going to maintain it in June. That's another 12 points. You have now earned 24 points. That will give you your trip and airfare for 1. You only need 1 more point to get airfare for 2. You can earn another point by getting another 5 for 500. And then you would have 25. You would have your trip and airfare for 2 people. Pro 4, here's another scenario for you. You do your baseline, 3 points from enrolling 15 new people equaling 1,500 PV. You achieve Pro 5 in April. In 4 months, you are a Pro 5. You get 9 points. And then you maintain Pro 5, again, getting ready for the summit as well. You have now earned 24 points for maintaining Pro 5 in May and June. This is 36 points total now. You go to Cabo as a Pro 5, maybe a Pro 6 even by September. You've got your trip, airfare for 2, activities for 2, and $200 spending cash. Yes. Okay, Pro 5s, Cabo trip. 3 points baseline, enrolling 15 new people equaling 1,500 PV. That has to happen. You're going to achieve Pro 6 in April. You'll get 12 points by achieving Pro 6. I know so many of you that want this so badly, and it is time. It is time. You're going to maintain Pro 6 in May and June. That's another 30 points, okay? You have 45 points now. You have earned your trip, your airfare for 2, activities for 2, and $500 spending cash. Everybody gets something when you come home. That's so good. So good. Okay, Pro 5s, we've got another scenario for you. You do your baseline of those 3 points, has to happen. You achieve Pro 6 in May. That is 12 points. You maintain it then in June, and you have 15 points. And now you've earned 30 points. You have still made it in a big way. You've earned your trip airfare for 2 people, and activities for 2. The last scenario I'm going to give you is for Pro 6s. 2 scenarios for those Pro 6s. You do your baseline of your 3 points. You achieve elite status, Pro 7 in May. In 5 months, you achieve Pro 7, 15 points. You maintain that in June, that is 18 points. Now you've got 36 points, trip and airfare for 2, activities for 2, and $200 spending cash. Yes. And one more way, Pro 6s, here we go. You achieve Pro 7 in June. In 6 months, you are an elite distributor in LifeVantage. You have achieved 15 points. That gives you 18 total with the baseline. If you earn 2 more points, you have earned the trip and airfare for 1. You can earn 2 more points by doing the 5 for 500 2 times. But remember, the baseline is the 3 points from 5 for 500 3 times. After that, you earn a point every time you enroll another 5 for 500, okay? And it must be at least 40 PV. Okay, I'm going to take it off share now for a second. Wow, I just completely erased that. And we're going to talk about the biggest portion, the biggest thing that you need to earn this trip. And that is your belief. How do we really get to Cabo? Because I want to know how many of you see that. You see the slides that I just gave you. You see what it takes to get it. And you're in your head and you're saying to yourself, no way, that's not going to happen. Like, that feels impossible. I want you to know, for years, I've been in LifeVantage for 9 years. I'm an Elite Pro 7 today. But for years in LifeVantage, I did not earn an incentive trip. I hadn't earned one for a very long time. I think it was probably 3 years ago, 6 years in, I finally earned my first incentive trip. And that was because I had convinced myself before that I didn't need it. And it instantly felt impossible to me when I would see those slides. Like, I was tuned out. I was completely tuned out. The very second that you tell yourself that something isn't possible for you, it isn't. The very second you do that, it's not possible. End of story. But the moment you tell your brain, I can't do this, it's going to shut down on you. And you're just not going to focus on the things that will allow you to move forward. And what happens, you guys, when there is no belief? When you don't believe in something, you don't put in the action, you don't put in the work. It's like I dipped my toe in consistently every time there was an incentive trip. I did just enough to maintain where I was at, but I didn't jump in and allow that trip to be the thing that would drive me to finally put in the action that was necessary to move me forward in my business. So when you don't have belief, you stop taking action the moment you stop believing. You create a story that's filled with negativity, and we create a whole movie of all the reasons that it shouldn't and it can't happen for us. And then we take no action. You've created a slew of limiting beliefs for yourself, and they're holding you back from being and doing something great. And most of the time, these limiting beliefs that you have about yourself, they're completely untrue. They're completely false. There isn't even any truth to them, and they're simply beliefs that were given to us, most of us from our past experiences, that we chose to accept as a truth. And because you see them as a truth, they now completely alter the way that you see and experience the world. And they completely alter the way that you see and don't experience incentive trips like this. Trips like that aren't for me. I've never been there, nor has anyone else I know. I'm not good enough to earn this, and it's so far out of my reach. I haven't enrolled anyone in the last few months, so how could I possibly enroll 15 in the next 6 months? No one on my team is really working or excited right now, so how is this possible? Do those sound familiar to anybody? Do they sound familiar to any of you? Those limiting beliefs, they'll just keep stacking up. And then all you start to see are the things that support the fact that you're not good enough. That's all you start to see. And even if there's evidence around you that proves that you are good enough, you're not going to see it because you've chosen to believe the other things. And then you start seeing notifications, you start seeing posts of all these other people that are starting to have success. And now you start to feel jealous. And then you start creating stories, not just for yourself, but of the people that are seeing success as to why it's easier for them, but still impossible for you. This sounds familiar to me because I've experienced all of that. Those were the exact thoughts that I would have when an incentive trip would come out. I was so good at telling myself that I didn't need to go. I'll go when I have the money. That's good for them, but I don't want to go and I don't want to put a swimsuit on around those people anyway. I don't want to have to go and feel uncomfortable. And then I really have to talk to people. I have to talk to leaders. It's probably just going to feel completely uncomfortable anyway. So why would I want to go? That put me in such a bad place. And then you see people there, and how do you not feel jealous when they're there and you know that you didn't even put in the work to get there in the first place? So here's the thing. Here's what I really am praying and what I want for you is I want you to change the lens. I want you to take off the glasses and choose a set of beliefs that will build you up and that will show you that Cabo is possible for you. Anyone can be in Cabo. It's 6 months, but you have to start putting in the work now. So what if instead of seeing this as just a trip, you saw this as a way to really get you going again? What if you saw it as a way to really springboard you and catapult you in the direction of your business that you've been completely neglecting because of the limiting beliefs that you have, because you don't believe that it can happen? These trips are not set in place to weed out the good from the bad. They're set in place to make you put in the work finally and prove to yourself that you have what it takes. But if you continue to say it's not for you and you don't put in the work, you're never going to know that. It's a way to finally take action towards something that could completely change the course of your business and your life. That's what it is. Create a set of beliefs that inspire you, you guys. Beliefs that won't hold you back, beliefs that can empower you and can start to help you realize the untapped potential that all of us have inside of us. And then you're going to begin to attract the opportunities and the circumstances you need to create to have the business and the life of your dreams because you believe it to be so. And here's what it boils down to. You're either going to define your story or your story is going to define you. And that's up to you. And that's simply what it is. You don't want your limiting beliefs to continue to define you, or you don't let them to continue to define you. I want us to finally plant the flippin' flag in the ground and say, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to take control of my story today. I'm going to create a different story because of this incentive trip that's in front of me. I'm going to believe that it's completely possible for me. So I'm going to give you some beliefs that I think could help you. So I'm going to share my screen again, and then I will get to the chat too. I see the chat going crazy. Give me 1 second. So I want you to take a screenshot of this, and I'm hoping this will help you guys. These are some beliefs that I want you to take a screenshot, and I want you to start saying these to yourself. I'm going to read these out loud. And as I read them, say them, not just to yourself, but I would love for you to say them out loud as well. Okay. There's 52 chats. I will get to those. I hope that doesn't mean I'm doing anything wrong. I hope you guys can see my screen. Okay. I love people and believe the best about others. Say this, say it. I love people and I believe the best about others. I am disciplined. I am anointed, empowered, and equipped. I am creative, innovative, driven, focused, and blessed beyond measure. I develop leaders. That's not something I do, it's who I am. My words, thoughts, and visions are positive and filled with belief in the good for my life, that anything is possible. My family is closer. My body is stronger. My faith is deeper, and my leadership is sharper. I wake up with purpose, direction, and meaning every day of my life. Failure is my friend. I accept all of the lessons that come with it to build me and to grow me. I bring my best and then some. It's what I bring after I do my best that makes the difference. The world will be different and better because I served others today. I hope you take a screenshot of this. And I want you to say these every single day and then take the action to back them up so that as you continue to say them, you truly start believing them. Because I know what it's like to not believe this in the beginning. I know what it's like to say these and go, But as you start to say them every single day and then you put the action behind it, that's when the belief really starts to happen. Here's when the other belief really starts to happen. When you put yourself in Cabo and you see yourself going to Cabo, and here's what happens, okay? This was my first incentive trip. I'm going to create this story for you so that you can believe it and see yourself doing the same thing. So when you arrive at the airport, they're going to have somebody waiting there for you. They're going to have a sign with your name on it. This is not an elite retreat like Cancun. This is an incentive trip. Okay? They bring out the finest details when you earn an incentive trip. So these people pick you up and they take you to the hotel. Your luggage is taken care of. They get that to the room for you without problem. You arrive at this amazing resort. The pools are pristine. It's always on the water. You check in with the hotel and then you check in with LifeVantage. And LifeVantage is sitting there and they give you a swag bag full of goodies, okay? You get hats, you get all this stuff. And then everywhere you look, you see the LV symbol everywhere. Like LifeVantage is branded all over this place, everywhere you go. And then this is so funny because when we went to Puerto Vallarta, I'd never taken a trip like this. So every time we went downstairs and I wanted to get a snack or I wanted to order anything, my husband had to continually remind me that it was free. I didn't know. I was like, well, how much is that? And he's like, it's free. It was so amazing. I'm sure many of you have been on an all-inclusive, but you guys, like everything is paid for. It's an incentive trip. You get to eat as much as you want, okay? It's so good. And then here's the most beautiful part. You're at this resort, there's an opening reception, but here's what you always hear about. But these are some of the pictures of when we were in Puerto Vallarta. You get to be in the pool and there's always that volleyball tournament, right? Corporate always wants to overtake the incentive people that are there and they want to rule the school, rule the pool with a volleyball tournament. And even if you're not playing it, when you're around that pool and they're playing, that energy is so much fun. And then this is a picture of my husband in the upper left-hand corner in the pool with Sean Poe, Fred Graves, and our CEO. Like, where else would he have been able to have that one-on-one time? And you love it because you hear stories that you've never heard before and you make friendships that you've never made before and you enhance the friendships that you already have with many people. You do things you've never done. I'd never paddleboarded before. And I was paddleboarding in this pristine blue water with all these amazing, well, some people won't like that, creatures under you, but it was so cool. It was so beautiful. Kyle couldn't get up on a paddleboard, so I don't have a picture of him. He kept falling off. I made it, and it was so fun. And then on the right, Carrie Dickey, right? Jillyn Fisher. I got to know Jill Lynn so much better on this trip. I don't know how I would have otherwise. I got to sit with Carrie Dickey in a circle and just be one-on-one with her. And then in the bottom, that's Maria Williams, one of the evenings where she got to watch her son play football. You get to see that these elites and the people, the leaders above you, they're just like us. They're moms and dads and parents and human beings that share the same love that we do for our families, and the bond and the way you get to know them is just so much better. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And I just wanted to prove to you guys that it is possible for your life. They are so much fun. It is an incentive trip. So let it be an incentive for you to move you forward. Finally, prove to yourself that you have what it takes and that you can be there in the waters with everyone else, really proving to yourself that you are just like everybody else, because it is doable. Okay, so I just want to make sure, there's a lot of chat here. I think I'm just going to save it. But does anybody have questions really quick? Hopefully it was all covered in the chat and you guys all had my back on the fundamentals. Can 15 customers, 1,500 be over time? It can happen from now until June. You do not have to get the 5 for 500 every single month. It can be from now until June, 15 enrollments, 1,500 PV. It's so doable, you guys. Okay, you're welcome. And it's even more doable if you believe it. And if you put in the actions, every time you put in the work and you put in the actions, your belief will grow that much more. How do you expect to grow any belief in yourself if you're not putting in the work and you're not putting in the actions? How will you ever really know what you're capable of? That doesn't even make sense. Rachel Jackson always says that. Come to me with my common sense corner, over to my common sense corner. Isn't it common sense that you're not going to believe that you can do it if you're not putting in the work? And you're going to get no's, but the no's are there to build us. The no's are there to learn from. We don't learn from the yeses. The yeses are easy, right? The yes, because we have a system, we have ITT. The yeses are, we put them through the system. We use our team to help get them started. We show them the system. But the no's are there to grow you. And if you're not going to learn the lessons from them, you're not going to move forward. So build that belief. I believe in you. I know that you can do this. I know that everyone can be there. Like they said, make this a trip that where LifeVantage has to open up more and more rooms because so many people went after it. Okay. All right. I love you guys very much. Thank you for tuning in. And